The Nomiki Show.
Joe Rogan has the largest podcast platform in the country. I don't know about the world. He is an important voice that I've run into too many people pre-COVID at bars who cite him for information. And my own family members at gatherings have cited him for information on science. So let's not joke about Joe Rogan, but let's play this clip of Joe Rogan telling us once again about science, something he has no experience in.
And people say, do you think it's safe to get vaccinated? I've said, yeah, I think for the most part it's safe to get vaccinated. I do. But if you're like 21 years old and you say to me, should I get vaccinated? I go, no.
Yeah.
Are you healthy? Are you a healthy person? Like, look, don't do anything stupid, but you should take care of yourself. You should, if you're a healthy person and you're exercising all the time and you're young and you're eating well, and like, I don't think you need to worry about this.
Yeah, I tend to agree with you.
But there's a lot of jobs that will tell you need to have this.
Well, that's what's starting to happen now.
People are worried about them doing it for their children. And we talked about this earlier.
Yeah.
There's that you might have to have your children vaccinated. And, you know, I can tell you as someone who's both my children got the virus, it was nothing.
Oh.
I mean, I hate to say that. If someone's children died from this, I'm very sorry that happened. I'm not in any way diminishing that, but I'm saying the personal experience that my children had with COVID was nothing. One of the kids had a headache. The other one didn't feel good for a couple days.
Yeah.
Like maybe, I mean, not feel good. Like no big deal. No coughing. No.
But
no
he killed his
aching.
grandmother. So, you know, the kid didn't get sick, but Granny Annie died because the kid went to go sit on Granny Annie's lap. Okay, what's more dangerous? I would say steroids that he's taking that have infected his brain over the vaccines that just throwing that out there. All right. So much to unpack. Let's start with Simon because he's off mute.
I mean, what is there to say besides like, don't get your medical advice from a podcast host? I think the real question that I ask when I look at this is how is it that so many people agree with him and are listening to him and like take his advice over the official medical advice provided to us by the CDC. And I think that a lot of it is rooted in this sort of anti-government sentiment and this sort of distrust in official government statements that has been, brewing over decades. And I think that's really the thing that needs to be fixed here is, the government needs to do a lot more to regain the people's trust. So that people like Joe Rogan, when he says something like this, everybody's just like, what the hell? You're so stupid. What are you talking about? Which should be the natural response.
Well, what's so crazy to me is, okay, aside from that, in the old days, you used to have editorial oversight. There's a reason why, like people are like, oh, stop trolling him because you're censoring him. No, you're not. When you're a reporter, when you have a platform on a major company website, as much as I hate the power of corporate media, they also have a responsibility to the public. I mean, this is a pandemic. If you're not going to do it now, then when are you going to institute standards? I mean, whether it's not being a racist, a Nazi, or a science denier. Piper?
I mean, it's a really interesting rhetorical move to say that you're not diminishing something and then just going full steam ahead and diminishing it. I think this is such a disappointingly individualistic stance to take. And I mean, surely enough, I think a lot of people have faced have had incredibly individualistic experiences with the coronavirus in terms of not getting the support that they need, in terms of not having access to perhaps enough fair wages, not having access to the PPE to keep them safe at work. So that's one experience of really having to go it alone during the coronavirus. But Joe Rogan is talking about an entirely different kind of going it alone, which is thinking that you're young enough or healthy enough to be able to take care of yourself, and that you're totally isolated from all the other people that you interact with, and that the choices that you make don't affect them. We know that this is false. Data just has clearly borne out that what he's saying isn't true. I'm 22, by the way, and I'm a very happily vaccinated member of society. frustrating. And I think that Simon arrives at a really good conclusion, which is, first of all, that the government should really learn to back up and like strongly message on this collective understanding of going through things like the coronavirus. And of course, then this has to be backed up materially, not just saying we're all in this together, as I think Biden has done several times, because I mean, in fact, we're really not. A lot of people are being forced financially to go it alone, and they shouldn't have to do that. And then that will make individualistic arguments like these seem all the more hollow.
It would be amazing if you could get, I don't know, an MSNBC host or maybe even a well-known Democrat to just maybe Biden to call out. I mean, the way that they do with Tucker Carlson and Sean Hannity, I mean, it is just as dangerous for him to be saying these things on the largest podcast, in which I don't know what the percentage of Democrats that listen to it are, but I know it's a significant chunk. It shouldn't be political, but when Simon says the government needs to back it up, anybody who's going to listen to the CDC is already listening to the CDC. What you need is to have somebody who is not used to picking these fights make the rhetorical fight and say, all right, Spotify, you know, this is not acceptable. This guy is the largest platform in the country and got how much money? $60 million, $100 million? I don't know how much he got for the podcast. And he's being rewarded. This is dangerous for democracy. It's dangerous for world health. It's dangerous for, equity. We can't have that conversation about equity if you're still having people like this idiotically like pushing out false narratives, which spew into Red America, as we know.
The Nomiki Show.